The rain fell so heavily that it blurred the city into a sea of gray shadows. People rushed past the old office building without noticing the man standing quietly outside its entrance. His shoes were worn thin from years of hard work. His jacket had been stitched together so many times that every patch told a story of survival. One hand held a faded folder containing a simple job application. The other held the tiny hand of his 7-year-old daughter, who smiled despite the cold, trusting that somehow her father would once again find a way to protect her from the world. He wasn't asking for a miracle. He wasn't looking for sympathy. He only wanted a chance to sweep floors, empty trash bins, and earn enough money to keep a promise he had made beside his late wife's hospital bed. But inside that building, a billionaire CEO was about to see one ordinary name on a job application, and in that single breathtaking moment, the past would come crashing back with a force neither man could have imagined. Before we continue, if you believe kindness has the power to change lives and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe to Kindness Speaks. Your support helps us continue bringing inspiring stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Daniel Carter had never imagined that his life would become a daily battle against impossible odds. Years earlier, he had worked as a skilled maintenance supervisor for a manufacturing company. His hands had repaired machines worth millions of dollars, and his dedication had earned the respect of everyone around him. He was never rich, but he had everything that truly mattered. A loving wife named Emily, a cozy little home filled with laughter, and their beautiful daughter Lily, whose bright blue eyes carried endless curiosity about the world. Every evening after work, Daniel rushed home because he believed no promotion or paycheck could replace dinner with his family. They celebrated birthdays with homemade cakes, spent weekends in neighborhood parks, and dreamed about taking a road trip across the country someday. Their life was simple, but it was filled with happiness that money could never buy. Then everything changed within a matter of months. Emily became ill with an aggressive disease that spread faster than anyone expected. Hospital visits replaced family outings. Savings disappeared into medical bills. Daniel sold his truck, emptied his retirement account, and worked every overtime shift he could find. He slept in waiting rooms, learned medical terms he never wanted to know, and held Emily's hand through nights that seemed endless. Even during her weakest moments, Emily smiled whenever Lily entered the room because she refused to let their daughter remember fear instead of love. Before Emily passed away, she asked Daniel for only one promise. She did not ask him to become wealthy. She did not ask him to move away or start over. She simply begged him never to let Lily feel abandoned. She wanted their daughter to grow up believing that love remains even after heartbreaking loss. Daniel promised with tears streaming down his face. It became the promise that guided every decision he made afterward. Life as a single father proved harder than Daniel had imagined. His company downsized during an economic downturn, and despite years of loyal service, his position was eliminated. He searched desperately for another maintenance job, but hundreds of experienced workers were competing for the same openings. Weeks became months. Rejection letters piled up. Employers often chose younger applicants or candidates willing to work for lower wages. Every morning, Daniel woke before sunrise, prepared Lily for school, packed her lunch with whatever food he could afford, and then spent the day visiting businesses across the city. Sometimes he filled out applications online at the public library because he could no longer pay for internet service at home. Other days he walked miles between industrial parks hoping someone might need an experienced maintenance worker. Everywhere he went, the answer was the same. They appreciated his experience but had already hired someone else. Bills continued arriving even when income stopped. Eventually Daniel lost the small house that held every memory of his family. Packing those rooms felt like saying goodbye to Emily all over again. Lily quietly placed her favorite stuffed rabbit into a cardboard box without complaining. She never asked why they had to leave. She simply hugged her father and whispered that wherever they lived together would still feel like home. Those words gave Daniel strength on the nights when exhaustion threatened to overwhelm him. They rented a tiny apartment barely large enough for 2 beds and a small table. Water stains marked the ceiling. The heater worked only when it wanted to. Yet Daniel decorated Lily's corner with colorful drawings and handmade paper stars because he wanted her to wake up believing tomorrow could always be brighter than today. Money became painfully scarce. Daniel skipped meals so Lily could eat enough. He repaired neighbors' broken furniture for small payments. He shoveled snow during winter and mowed lawns during summer. Pride disappeared because survival mattered more than appearances. No job felt too small if it meant keeping his promise. One evening Lily accidentally overheard adults discussing how difficult life had become for her father. Instead of becoming frightened, she opened a small glass jar hidden beneath her bed. Inside were dozens of coins she had collected for months by returning bottles, helping elderly neighbors carry groceries, and saving every bit of spare change she found. She placed the jar in Daniel's hands and smiled with complete innocence. She told him that heroes sometimes needed help too. Daniel cried harder than he had since Emily's funeral. He realized his daughter had inherited her mother's generous heart. The next morning, while searching through newspaper listings at the local library, Daniel noticed a small advertisement that most people would have ignored. A large corporate headquarters was hiring overnight janitors. The pay was modest. The work required cleaning offices, emptying trash bins, washing windows, and maintaining hallways after business hours. It had nothing to do with the career Daniel once dreamed of rebuilding. Yet he smiled. Work was work. Honest work deserved respect. If cleaning floors kept food on Lily's table, then he would become the best janitor the company had ever hired. He carefully ironed his only dress shirt using an old second-hand iron borrowed from a neighbor. He polished shoes whose leather had almost completely faded. He updated his resume to highlight reliability, discipline, and years of maintaining large facilities. He intentionally removed anything that might make employers think he was overqualified because he had already learned that too much experience often frightened hiring managers. Lily watched quietly while he prepared the application. Before leaving, she tucked a tiny folded drawing into his folder without him noticing. It showed a father wearing a blue uniform beside a smiling little girl. Above them she had written in crooked handwriting, "My daddy never gives up." Daniel would not discover the drawing until much later. That rainy morning, father and daughter walked together toward one of the tallest buildings in the city. Employees hurried inside wearing expensive suits while Daniel stood patiently in line with other applicants seeking entry-level work. Some glanced at his worn clothes before looking away. Others barely noticed him at all. He simply lowered his eyes, held Lily's hand a little tighter, and waited for his turn. Far above the lobby, inside an office overlooking the entire city, Billionaire CEO Alexander Hayes prepared for another exhausting day filled with board meetings, financial reports, and expansion plans. He had reviewed thousands of documents throughout his career. Most names meant nothing. He had no reason to believe that before sunset, one simple application for a janitor's position would stop him cold. One ordinary name. One forgotten memory. One unfinished promise. And the moment he saw it, his entire world would change forever.